Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we're playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So you might notice it's especially moody today. That's because I'm using a mod called Improved Battle Weather. So I thought it'd be a good time to test it because I'm fighting chaos and it's so moody. So let me know if you guys like the new sort of lighting on this, if it's something you want me to use, you know, now and then, or if you just find it distracting and you hate it. Let me know in the comments, and you know, because I want to make this stuff look as cool as I can for you guys. So you know, give me your feedback and I'll adjust accordingly. So anyway, I'm playing Greenskins and I'm against Chaos. So this is a fun one actually. This was incredibly close. So and I think a lot of that comes down to the builds and some daft mistakes on my part. So anyway, so Frontline of Blackhawks and Nasty Skulkers. So Blackhawks, obviously just really sturdy troops. They're not going to go anywhere. I don't have to worry about them terror routing or anything because they're immune to psychology. So that's always great against, you know, against Chaos. Also, Nasty Skulkers, very cheap armor piercing. So if he's got a load of Chaos Warriors and things, these guys will actually be able to get pretty good value. So they're pretty useful. They do Stalk as well, so maybe I should have dotted them around a bit so I could, you know, sneak them in places, but I just wanted to, you know, have a pretty sensible front line. So they are backed up with Trolls as well, so a lot of the damage that would be going on the Nasty Skulkers will end up on the Trolls, you know, that's kind of the idea. And I don't have to worry about ranged with the Trolls, like you normally do with most factions. Same with the Giant. So the Giant will absolutely stomp house. As long as I keep him away from halberds, he'll just kill everything. He is a lumbering beast though. Luckily, a lot of the things he's really good against are also really slow. So I don't have to worry about him just walking away from me. So should be able to do a lot of damage. So that'll be really fun. Also in the back, Rusty Arrows, they're a must, right? They're just a must. You know, with the armor sundering, they are so useful. And also I have another unit of Goblin Archers to capitalize on the lack of armor, you know, that these guys will provide. So that's going to be really useful. I also have the Unbreakable to 8-peak loonies. So these guys will be great. You know, they'll just hold the line wherever I put them, basically. And I quite like them for sort of guarding the back line, because it means you can rely on them for a long time to sort of screen out enemy units and things. So also have a Night Goblin Shaman, so he's got Itchy Nuisance and what's the other one? Sneaky Stabbing. So he'll be able to buff and debuff, you know, as the game goes on. And they're led by Skarsnik. So Skarsnik I love in the Chaos matchup. I think I've gone through that before. That anti-large bonus of his means he can just punch really above his weight. So, you know, if he's fighting like a Chaos Dragon or something, he will just dumpster it. He can do mad damage to stuff like that. So really useful. I really like Skarsnik in this matchup because yeah, 9 times out of 10 they'll have a mounted lord, or even just like Kolek, who is just massive by, you know, by way of being massive. So really useful. I love Skarsnik in this matchup. I think he's absolutely great, and you know, he's got War and all the rest of it. It's fantastic. So also I've got a Goblin Big Boss. So this guy, you know, on a spider, he's really cheap. He's only 500 quid, and he just does a great job for, you know, screening out units that I want to catch. And, you know, also things like enemy lords. You can get the Goblin Big Boss on him. He'll get poisoned. You know, you slow him down, debuff him a bit, and then you can just sort of stroll over with the Giant or Skarsnik and start doing serious damage. So he's not the best duelist, but he's great just for sort of beginning an engagement and letting your guys catch up. So I love the Goblin Big Boss. He's really useful. So sometimes I bring 2, but no, just the 1 this time. So here you can see Mel Cultimus Fire Miasma going down the Blackhawks. Don't want to miss that. So what did they bring? So he's got Gorbeast Chariot. Not sure about this pick. I've got a lot of large units, so I can probably pen him in pretty well. And the Goblin Big Boss should be able to poison them, slow them down. I'm just not sure how useful this is going to be against my build. In the front line though, this is quite a cool front line. So he's got a real mixture of things. So you can see Chaos Marauders are great weapons in here. So these guys will trade very effectively against the Blackhawks. You know, a load of very cheap armor piercing. He's also got Chaos Warriors. They're not going to do as well against the Blackhawks, but they'll do well against the Goblins or, you know, Orc Biggins or Orc Boys. You know, they're just very sturdy. So like these guys, very good. Also, he's got a Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows, so that's going to be really useful for, you know, debuffing and pendulums and Melkoths, you know, just useful stuff. So I do like Laura Shadows. Also, where is he? Here is it? Yep, Chosen with great weapons. These guys will match up great against basically everything. Except the Giant. The Giant should be able to do some serious work against these guys. Because, yeah, the great weapons, you know, all that armor piercing, doesn't matter. You know, Giant's just a big naked dude. So he doesn't care. So he'll do a load of damage. It'll be really good. Also, though, he's got some Forsaken. These Forsaken, I'm not sure the best thing for, like, countering my build because of all the Blackhawks. So, you know, that's going to be quite tough for him to deal with. But, they'll, you know, they'd be really good against just any of the other, like, cheap orc infantry, so, you know, orc boys and biggins and, well, biggins aren't even particularly cheap, but they'll do great here. You know, goblins, whatever. They'll be able to just cut through thousands of them before they go down. But against armoured things, they don't do so well. So we'll see how well they do. Also in the back, he's got Chaos Warriors with halberds. These guys, really good counter to all the big stuff I've got. And also he's got Sigvald. So the one time in 10 that they don't bring a large lord is this one, which is well played, to be honest. The greenskins will often have Skarsnik against Chaos. So good pick, actually, you know, making sure that I can't counter him like that. So Skarsnik's got to watch out, but Sigvald's got to watch out for that giant, because, yeah, the giant is going to just keep batting him. It's not going to go well for him. And on the side here, over here, yep, Chaos Warhunter Poison. So these guys are going to be an absolute pain in the ass, and for some reason I just didn't even notice them in this fight. It was really dumb. So I sped things up, so I'm just charging straight in with everyone, and but I'm actually keeping some trolls and the Goblin Big Boss in reserve, because I want to see where these Gorby's chariots go. Because these two will be able to just collapse on them and just, you know, really do some damage. So here, fairly good amount of damage against the Blackhawks, honestly. So I've got my rusty arrows trying to kill the Chosen, and as you can see, the amount of damage that I'm doing with those guys and the nasty skulkers, it's pretty good. Like, Chosen are fantastic. So the fact I'm able to do that is pretty great. Itch Nuisance comes down a little bit late, unfortunately, but you can see the Chosen taking a ton of damage thanks to my rusty arrows. But for some reason, I sent my 8-peak loonies over there, and the Chaos Warhounds are just going to eat all my archers. So that was a massive waste. So Penudral Pendulum comes down here, misses. It basically missed me, so that's a real shame, really expensive. So here, Melkosmis von Miasma also came down the Blackhawks, I think. But the Forsaken, they're not going to do well in this engagement against the Blackhawks. Sigvald's helping out. Sigvald will do well against Skarsnik, so I've got to watch out there. Over here you can see the Gorby's chariots having a terrible day. And the Blackhawks are going to hold these guys back for a long time. Over here you can see the 8-peak loonies. They're going to trade fairly evenly for a while. It's basically whoever brings something in to help will win. So my trolls, I pulled them out and he charged them back in somewhere again. Really, I should have just dealt with these Chaos Warhounds. And yeah, because at the moment I've just got a Shaman and a Big Boss trying to deal with these Warhounds, and it's just not a good idea. So I've lost the Rusty Arrows already, and that's a real ace up my sleeve. You know, they're so good in this matchup, especially with all the Chaos Warriors and the Chosen and everything. Just, you need them. You really need them. So here, not sure where the Giant's going, but whatever. I pulled him and Skarsnik out, apparently. I don't remember doing that, but that's fine. Over here, you see, I do actually get Nasty Skulkers back, so I can bring them into the fight again. But he's going to be really good at using these Chaos Warhounds. He just mops up a load of my fleeing units constantly, and it makes it really hard to sort of bring guys back after they've run. So, thank God I brought Blackhawks, honestly, that aren't going to rout, you know, in a hurry. It means that I can get some work done. But unfortunately, all the Goblins that are running away, it's going to be really hard to keep them in the fight. Because, yeah, these Warhounds are going to do a great job. So here, I use the Prodder, Skarsnik Prodder, just do some damage against him. I knew I wasn't going to hit Sigvald very easily, so I thought I'd just try and do some damage and hit their leadership a bit. Honestly, didn't really do much, but that's fine. So the Blackhawks here, still fighting Chosen with great weapons, but the Giant will really help tip this in my favour, and actually the Trolls will do a good job here too. But here I can see the Gorby's chariot is coming back in. I want to shut him down before he can keep cycle charging. So I'm getting on him with the Goblin Big Boss and the Trolls, and I'm just gonna clean this up nice and quickly. Over here, the Blackhawks, they're holding out against so much. So it's pretty scary, and I'm trying to get the archers to deal with these marauders, because, well, they'll just be able to kill a lot of marauders. They don't have shields, they don't have a lot of armor, so I'll get a lot of kills with them, and it just means it's one less unit for me to worry about over here. So that definitely helps. You know, Goblin's nice and cheap, but it gets rid of some of their armor piercing. So, annoyingly, Gorby's chariot's still going. Another Itchy Nuisance comes down here, but unfortunately I've lost my Blackhawks, which actually leaves my Night Goblin Shaman and Skarsnik on this side on their own. Over here, I've basically run out of 8-peak loonies because the Shaman came to help. Shaman's taken a ton of damage in this fight, though, so that's really good for me. Because sorry, not Shaman, Sorcerer. So that's going to be a pain in the ass. Also, Trolls are coming back, so that's good. I need to get these Trolls in, get that armor piercing in, you know? So, really useful. Over here, Giant barely taken any damage, which is amazing. And luckily for me, the Chaos Halberds have almost gone. They've almost got taken out, you know, by Skarsnik and the, you know, just overwhelming power of the Blackhawks. They match up great against the Halberds. So really, he needed the Halberds over here, dealing with my Giant, and he needed these Chosen with great weapons over here, dealing with the Blackhawks. So really good for me, actually. Really good that I've managed to deal with so many of the Halberds. It means that the Giant has very few threats left. So over here, Sigvald is trying to chase my Goblin Big Boss. He's never going to catch him. So also, I'm pulling out my trolls, because I need to get my trolls out of this fight and into this one, because Skarsnik is not having a good time. He will fall against this stuff, you know, I need to bring back up quickly. So Sorcerer's coming in, I think he's going for the Big Boss, so Big Boss is going to fight back. I'm getting some units coming back, which is great, and of course all the Poison Warhounds, they're just here trying to deal with Skarsnik, so they're not screening my men anymore, which is great. So here, Chaos Warriors over there, luckily I should be able to intercept them with the Trolls and get my Shaman back, because having a Shaman would be very useful in this situation. Over here you can see my Big Boss is just getting killed to bits by pretty much everything, but look at the amount of damage he's done to the Sorcerer. Look at that, isn't that great? Looks like he can deal with the Sorcerer. So archers are coming in to help finish him as well, and he's shattered, so that's excellent for me. So don't have to worry about his Sorcerer anymore. Now that the Giants in this fight, and the Trolls came in with their charge, yeah, it's just basically allowed me to terror out all of the infantry that was surrounding Skarsnik. So Skarsnik is back in the game, which is awesome, and suddenly a lot of stuff of his is broken. And you can see, though, the amount of damage that they, I've caused to all of them. I'm amazed his Warhounds are still on so much health, considering, the anarchy that this battle has been. So my archer's still firing away at stuff. I'm just trying to hit as much as I can of this before it gets into this engagement. So here I'm getting the Giant to hit Sigvald, because, screw that guy. And but Rusty Arrows are going to die again, which is annoying. I'm trying to get the Nasty Skulkers back to deal with them, but now he's chasing me with the Chaos Warriors. But that's great, because that's Chaos Warriors over here that aren't in this engagement. So that's great news. So as you can see, more guys are getting terrified, which is great news for me. Unfortunately, these guys are holding steady. My Trolls are running away. So it's basically just the Giant and a very, very injured Skarsnik fighting against these guys. And as you can see, the Giant is losing a lot of health. Luckily, Sigvald, although he's on full health, he is hitting his healing cap. So he won't be able to regenerate anymore. So that's great news for me. So here I'm getting my Shaman back, which is fantastic. My Trolls are fighting these Chaos Warriors. They should be able to win that. And I've got my Big Boss back, so my Big Boss can charge in here. More guys getting terrified. Now this is where things go a bit stupid. So here I'm trying to move Skarsnik away, but it won't let me click on him. I keep trying to click on him, despite the fact I was at this angle and the flag is massive, it wouldn't let me click on it. So here, you see, I just moved the Giant. That was me trying to move Skarsnik. I just couldn't click on him. It kept clicking on other things, which is such a nuisance. For some reason, clicking on banners to select people is just not as responsive as it used to be in Warhammer 1. I don't know what changed, but for some reason it's a little less reliable. Luckily though, my Goblin Big Boss is in here. My Blackhawks are routing again, which is very sad. My Goblin Big Boss is in here poisoning Sigvald, and the Giant is just wailing on him. But that is a lot of Chaos Warriors that are back in this fight, so that's not good. But Trolls are coming back, so that's great. Trolls can come in here, join the fight. And as you can see, leadership isn't really at a premium right now. Well, it is at a premium, and yeah, they just don't have a huge amount yet. So that's really good. So yeah, it's a lot fairly, it's units that aren't going to do great against the Giant that are in this engagement. There are no halberds left, he's got no anti-large, so that's good. Amazingly, the Big Boss is still fighting, and now the Trolls are coming in. You can see it's going to do enough damage to their leadership. They should terror out in a second. So these guys did, and these guys are soon to follow. Now my Shaman's coming back in, so yeah, they're routing now. That's great. And Sigvald, he has just taken so much punishment. Like, him and the Giant are fighting neck and neck here. But now that I'm poisoning him again with the Goblin Big Boss, I've got the Trolls hitting him. I'm just going to charge straight through these Chaos Marauders. They're not going to hold up in this fight. So that's great news. And what's left of his army is coming in too slowly. So that's great. He just can't back up his guys anymore. So here you go. Boom. Prince Sigvald is routing, so I want to finish him off. There's no way he can escape the Goblin Big Boss, though, which is why I love the Goblin Big Boss. He's just so good at chasing down units, So even if it was a dragon, he'd just keep nipping away at his heels, stop him from taking off. So there you go, boom. That is one dead Sigvald. So we both lost our Lord. Pretty costly battle. But all he's got left is the Chaos Warriors, and this Giant is going to have no problem. He's barely going to take any damage while he's just stomping these guys. And with the backup of... so Itchy Nuisance is going to come down here, I think. Yep, Itchy Nuisance. So no melee attack. They're going to do no damage now, and I can just whittle away. So there you go. Pyrrhic victory. Definitely Pyrrhic. I mean, my god. The Giant was basically the last thing alive that could get any work done, and he was almost dead. So this was incredibly close. It wouldn't have been as close if I'd managed to actually keep my Rusty Arrows alive, for at least some of that battle. So, bit of a shame. But did a load of damage to the Chosen early on, which definitely helped. It allowed my Giant to, clean him up a bit quicker so he could come and help Skarsnik eventually. But yeah, it was just insanely tough fight. My Nasty Skulkers didn't do as well as I would have liked, but, I was just against pretty tough enemies, to be honest. You know, the Chaos Warriors, like, they're pretty heavily armoured. Obviously, Nasty Skulker's got the armour piercing, but they do have good combat stats as well. So they weren't going to let me hit them much, and just the amount of shock, that like damage that I took at the start of the combat, yeah, the Nasty Skulker just couldn't hold up to that, which is why they're best used as like a flanking force rather than as a frontline unit, especially because I had to pull out my trolls in, you know, well, on one side to deal with the Gorby's Chariot. You know, it's just a bit irritating. So Gorby's Chariot, 31 kills, not the best, honestly. It's quite expensive for that. I think maybe just more stuff in the front line, or even replace that with a couple of Marauder Horsemen. You know, so that way he could bring some ranged, and he'd also have even more stuff to chase down fleeing units. But yeah, just having like Marauder Horsemen, you know, the ones with the armor-piercing missiles, just having them just throwing axes at my Blackhawks, you know, he would have wrapped him up much quicker, and I wouldn't have been able to do much against him, because, you know, he had so many like hounds just, well, hounding me in the back line that my archers didn't survive long at all. So, yeah, so I think Gorby's Chariot, bit of a letdown. But it definitely works in some matchups. You know, it could just walk straight through Orc Boys all day and just kill thousands of them if I brought like a wider line. But considering that I had 3 units of Black Orcs, my line was pretty wide already. So, I don't know. I'm not sure the Gorby's Chariot's the best anymore. Because it will get stuck on Black Orcs. You know, you're always going to go against Trolls or Giants or things, and they're just going to pen in the Gorby's Chariots and destroy them, you know. So it's a bit tough. It's a bit tough, honestly. Forsaken didn't do as well as I'm sure he would have liked, but I think that's because the Nasty Skulkers broke so quickly. These guys ended up just fighting Black Orcs for the most part, and the Giant. So yeah, they just didn't really get much value out of them, unfortunately. But that's not to say they're not usually good against Greenskins. I think they're a pretty good pick, just not in this engagement. So also Chaos Marauders, nice cheap armor piercing, always useful. But the Chaos Warriors, I think were actually the best pick here. They did really well at just holding, you know. Unfortunately though, chosen with great weapons, bloody hell, 102 kills. And I mean, that was a lot of it was Nasty Skulkers, but a lot of that was Black Orcs. They did a very good job. It was just a real shame they ended up just fighting the Giant for so long. You know, they just couldn't get the value there. So great pick with Sigvald as well, because yeah, Skarsnik couldn't deal with him. So Skarsnik was just fighting fodder for the most part. So, you know, really unfortunate. So poor Skarsnik, he's dead. But hey, at least we got Sigvald. So, yeah, a fun match. Very fun match. So, well played. Unbalances. I don't know. I always get confused with the Z. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a bit like, I don't know, Hispanic or something. I have no idea. But anyway, great match though. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe. And let me know if you like the lighting, you know, the lighting mod I was using. Because, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. But, you know, I want some feedback on it before I start using it all the time and you guys hate it, you know. So, let me know. So anyway, guys, like I said, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.